Welcome to Real 45, episode 31. I'm going for the rap myself. This is episode 31. I'm Greg Hancock. I'm with my good old buddy, my partner. I don't really know how to. I was listening to some of our interviews the other day. Steph and Janelle, welcome to the Real 45 podcast with Greg Hancock.
Thank you.
I was listening to some of our recordings the other day, and I started laughing because I introduced you as my partner. When we were at the Polish consulate or something. I said, "Yeah, me and my partner." And I thought, I wonder if people think that you and I are like together, like an item.
We need to make a real 45 ring, like a,
This is my partner, and then we hold hands or something.
We should do that.
That's my partner, Stephen, and I. We're both happily married.
Yeah, we are.
Absolutely, right? Yeah, you could rock it.
Yeah.
So wait, we're back after another great week. We've been on the gas, both you and I doing our regular day jobs and having fun with the podcast. But have you really been busy, or are you just telling me you are?
I'm telling you are. I have this. I had friends from Denmark, Netherlands, Finland, Germany, England, and Sweden over this weekend.
You have friends in all those places?
Yes. Cool places.
Oh man. And okay. All right. So how do you become friends with people in all those places? Are you just a traveler, or are you like
No, I'm
a dude?
I'm a member of something that's called Round Table.
Yes.
And this network it's a network. And I think we are all over the world. And all of these clubs, like the one that I am in Norrtälje, it's called 125. So we have numbers. So the number clubs in all of those other countries we are meeting every year.
Oh, so the number represents the country or the...
No, the club. So in every country,
right.
we have a number for each club that are different places. So
in Sweden, for instance, how many clubs are there around Sweden?
Oh, I don't know, actually. I think there are like 2,000 or 2,500 members in Sweden.
Ooh,
in
right.
total.
That's a lot. That's quite a bit, huh?
Yeah. And we do a lot of these get-together things. And it's really cool to meet all of these other guys from Europe to see, because we are hosted at their houses. So when I go to Germany, for example, I live in another house from another brother. Mm-hmm. Or we call it brothers,
Yeah, like me and you, we're twin brothers from another mother.
True. I just don't know how to go around this.
That's okay. I can elaborate for you. I'm pretty good at just making stuff up.
Good.
So these guys all flew in from different parts of the world to Sweden this time, or?
Yeah, we met in Norrtälje this time.
Cool, man. That's quite an organization.
Yeah, it's really cool. And we have this there for 4 days, so Thursday to Sunday. And we were the organizer of this one. So we had a lot of fun. Jet skis, beers, of course. And then on the Saturdays, we always have a gala dinner with smokings or tuxedos. I don't know the difference. I think it's smoking in Norrtälje or in Swedish.
That's right, smoking. I guess that's probably an international term as well, but I hadn't heard it for a lot of years until I had to rent a smoking for a gala.
Oh.
And I was like, Jenny said that to me. She's like, "Yeah, we need to get you got to get a smoking for you." And I was like, "What?
What is that?"
What's this? I don't never smoked a day in my life. What do you mean? So, that's pretty cool. I can also get a tuxedo.
Yeah, but I think that the smoking thing is really cool because you always know what to wear, and we wear them a lot. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
So you're used to fixing your tie, the bow tie, and
yeah, I do it myself. Not the bow tie.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't doubt it because you're a pretty talented dude.
Yeah, I watched YouTube for like 40 minutes before I got it. The same video over and over again.
This is good. This is good. See, you just figure stuff out. It's like, for me, I'd have to call somebody and get someone to come over and show me. You just figure it out. I don't got time to call somebody. I'm going to just do it now. I will do it myself. You're a problem solver.
Exactly. You need to do that.
So that's Roundtable. Well, you know, I have my own network.
Yeah?
I do. I don't know if you know this or not, but I have my own network, and it's called the Oval Table.
Oh. And you're, how many people is it? One?
Yeah. I'm kind of like a one-man wolf pack. So I've got my oval table, and I just race around it.
Oh, you do?
You know.
Then you're 4 people at a time.
Yeah, there's normally like 4 of us, and there's quite a few clubs. There's about like 8 clubs, I think, here in Sweden. You know,
you should do that, like past oval table members.
I'm gonna make
like when you quit, and then you can go to the other club, the race club.
That's the oval table members with the rest area.
Exactly.
You take a pause. Yeah, that's right, for sure. That's pretty cool. So we have a lot in common, you know. In my oval table group, we have clubs all around the world. You know, we've got like Sweden, Denmark, we got Germany, we got Poland, we got Italy, Czech Republic. We've got the U.S., Australia. Dude, we're pretty big.
Yeah, you are.
You know, I can't even begin to tell you how many members are actually involved, but you know, a
couple of thousands, millions.
It's just a number. It's just a number.
It's really cool. It's really similar. In one way.
In one way it is, right? When you think about it. And you've got, wherever I go in the world, I can make a phone call, and we have this group, and I don't know if we're as loyal to each other as you guys might be, but I'd like to think that a few of them I am with.
Yeah.
You guys are, yeah. So it should be all right. Anyway, this week's episode, I was down in Småland on my own this time. Mm-hmm. As sometimes we end up being like that, huh? We can't be in the same place all the time. So during my recent trip down to Småland, I was over at Magnus Frodig's place at the MX World Collection, and lo and behold, the infamous, world famous, all around smoking cool dude Hans Andersen, the Danish writer, and a good buddy of mine from way back. He came scooting on by and dropped in, and I've been trying to hook up with him to grab a podcast for quite a few weeks, and we've talked about it, and we're close to meeting up in Poland a few weeks back. Didn't work out because of me, of course, you know, me and my silly schedule. But we made it happen, and we sat down in Magnus' office inside the museum and locked the doors and just pressed record and had a really, really cool episode. So I don't even know if you've got to hear it yet, but
I haven't.
He's a cool guy. We talked about life. We talked about what he's done. He was actually a tool maker from the beginning. That's what his apprenticeship was. Growing up, he did that and started racing in different leagues and working at the same time. Traveling between Sweden back to Denmark to Poland, and coming back and going straight back to work the following day. And you have to hear it. It's pretty interesting. It's a lesson for some of the youngsters today who haven't had the ultimate opportunity to really know what it's like to work and ride at the same time. So it's an eye opener. And I think, you know, guys like Luke Becker will get a kick out of listening to this himself and seeing how determination to make it, hard work. Nothing's handed to you on a silver platter. And Hans has done all that, and quite an interesting guy. He's a big family man, so much respect for his idols and people around him, sponsors, mechanics, and you know, he's got some funny stuff that he's done, and yeah, you have to hear it.
Yeah, I'm really curious about it, so I'm doing that right after this.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
So that's about it. You got to listen up. So
here he is.
With that being said, yeah, we should just let it roll. And thanks to all of you guys for listening. Be sure to follow us. Check us out on social media, Facebook, Instagram, at Real45 Podcast. Share us, like us, throw some comments. We're always looking for feedback and questions or concerns, right, Stefan?
True, really true. And we will try to make the YouTube more interesting too in the future.
There's some exciting things on the go, right? We haven't put out the full edit from our recent trip to New York, but it'll be coming soon.
Yeah. So listen up to Hans.
You got it. Thanks, you guys. See you next week.
See ya.
Welcome to Real 45 with Stefan and Greg Hancock. We vibe out and have real talk, so tune in and check this out. Yeah. Today
I'm here with, I classify as a good buddy and a guy I've spent many years racing with, against, and probably more against than with, but always a pleasure. Hans Andersen, welcome to our podcast, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be on.
I know we've been talking about getting together for a while, you know, and trying to fit in a day here and there, and you were even prepared to drive from Leszno to Wrocław to meet me at one time, and I couldn't commit to the time, but you're the man. That's just you in a nutshell.
Well, I'll do my best, and you know, it's a good podcast, and obviously it's a pleasure for me to be on. And like you said, with our travel and schedule nowadays, it's very hard when we're not in the same teams. But luckily, we sat down here now having this chat.
That's right, and here we are. We're sitting in this beautiful place, the MX World Collection. We have our first match in home match tonight in Dackarna. So thanks Magnus gave us a nice place to sit down and catch up and grab a cup of coffee.
Coffee is very important.
Coffee's very important, and it's a key point for our social gathering right now. I keep trying to get Luke Becker to drink coffee, and he's still a young punk.
He's very young.
Yeah, he's still, he's got a long way to go, right?
He's got a lot to learn, especially in Europe. He needs to be a coffee drinker.
Yeah, so I told him he won't make it unless he starts drinking coffee. He might as well just go home now.
Mm-hmm.
But if we turn the focus back to Hans Andersen, we've been friends on and off the track for a long time. But I'm here to this podcast has been really, really cool, catching up with old buddies, but riders of interest. For me, it's people that I've been involved with in my career from the beginning right up to present day. And I still look at you as one of the younger guys in the game, which you are, actually.
Yeah, well, I am. I still find myself being young, but my birth certificate says something different. But the way I look at it, I've still got a few years on you, so still got time to go.
Yeah, and you just told me about that too. You know, you still look at yourself as being young, and the day that I hang it up is the day you're going to go.
Yeah, people keep asking me, do you know what you're going to do when you finish riding? And I said, no, because I still love riding my bike, as you do. And I know we two had this conversation a couple of years ago, and I said, mate, you just got to keep doing what you're doing, because you're not going into age specific, but you're 10 years older than me, and you've always been someone that I looked up to. And the day you hang your Kevlars is the day I can see my career coming to an end, because that 10-year gap, it goes within a flash.
Dude, you can't put that on me.
No.
I can't be in charge of your career. Come on.
Yeah, well, you are a good role model, not only to me, but so many people in the world of speedway, being, a genuine, nice guy. And,
Stop it.
I'm making you flush.
Yeah, that's right. You see it?
Yeah?
I'm going to start sweating now.
Nah, it is good. And like you said, we've had a long history of racing against each other. Not many places we've actually teamed up, but it's nice to team up as well. End of the day, the people you meet is your colleagues, whether you ride against them or with them, because you do so much travelling together, and it's just nicer to see your mates. And who wouldn't want to go to work with your mates every day?
That must be a life lesson for a lot of people. If you don't love what you do, and you can hear that you really love what you do, otherwise you wouldn't do it. But those things that we spend so much time with the guys, our mechanics, if we even turn it to that, I just had having breakfast with your mechanic this morning and talking to him, and he showed me how many miles you have on your van, and he said if you get to 1 million miles, it's yours. The van's yours. He told your mechanic.
Yeah, I told him,
kilometers. I should say.
kilometers. Yeah, it's done over 800,000 now. A good English saying is, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Right.
And it's still going. Obviously, we're very cautious of it, but it does the job. And like I said to him, get it to 1 million and it's yours. And
what a deal.
He really wants a new van. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but he also likes the idea of getting a vehicle for free. Cheap is good, but free is best.
Who doesn't get like that? So if he looks at it like that, so let's give Volkswagen a plug here, because you got a Volkswagen. Is it a transporter? So that's got to be a lesson, right?
It's been very reliable, and is one thing as a speedway rider. One thing, the rider gets to the track is easy because we just fly, but the mechanics, they spend so much time in the vehicles, traveling country to country, up various motorways, and if the van breaks down, is a big problem, because the bikes won't get there in time, and big applause to a Volkswagen.
Totally right. And you take care of course, you got to service it like your bikes. You got to take care of the thing, otherwise it's not going to get you from A to B. But
everything nowadays needs service, and even the wife.
Yeah, that's it. Amen right there. You heard it right from the mouth. Everyone needs a service here and there, so it keeps us happy.
Yep.
Your mechanic, going back to that, those 800,000 Ks that I saw on your Speedo today, how many of those Ks did you guys spend together, So this is where it's a relationship, right?
It is, and like yourself, sometimes it is a bit of a problem with mechanics working for you, because obviously you spend so much time together, you turn into very good mates, and sometimes... not saying that they get disrespectful, but end of the day, you are still their boss, and sometimes when things go wrong, you can have a little bit of an argument and stuff, but end of the day, you're still back to the friendship base. And even like my mechanic says, if we can't tell each other the truth, but it doesn't work.
That's a good mechanic right there.
It is, and my mechanic is old school as well. He does things the way that I would do, so that's probably why he's been stuck with me for a long time, because we're pretty similar in many ways. And like you say, mechanic riders, it is a relationship, because if it doesn't work, mechanic rider in between, it won't last.
Totally.
And end of the day, it's not about me scoring the points on track, because I'm just as reliable on having good mechanics as bikes.
You got to have that.
There's no iron team.
No, for sure. That's why it's a team. And then even with my guys too, I can be with you. My guys are old school too, but that feeling of trust and honesty, or honoring or loving what you do. But sometimes we have disagreements and we have arguments, and I hate to call them arguments, but they pretty much are disagreements. Yeah, disagreements are good, right?
Yeah, it sounds better.
Yeah, and I would never fly off the handle at them in the pits in front of other people. I might show some. I try to grin and bear it, but...
You wouldn't start slapping in like other riders do.
Yeah. Do guys do that?
I've seen some, but I can't mention names.
Oh, right, okay. I've seen a lot of videos.
I've seen a lot of videos.
Yeah, never heard anything.
It's a short person. Yeah. That's the only thing I can say. But there you go.
I'm pretty short.
Most bigger riders are short.
That's right. But we always take our discussions after the races, out of sight, and then sometimes you can have a heated moment, and it's really hard to grit your teeth and just get through it, but I've probably let it out once in a while, but tried to turn my head into it, and then you go into the van afterwards and listen guys, that shouldn't have happened. We've been doing this for a long time, and you always work it out, and in the end one's going, yeah, I'm sorry, maybe I made that mistake, I shouldn't have done that, or whatever, and we all, we shake hands, we're not going to do that again, we learn from it, and you crack open a bottle of water or whatever you crack open and make a cheers and get on with it.
Tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah, that's it.
But it's the same, and like with other riders as well. You can have disagreements on the track, and many of them are heat at the moment. But in general, you respect your colleagues on the track, and no one has more respect for another guy if he holds his hand up and said, right, I was in wrong, sorry. And stuff, and that's probably why you see people get a bit tense now sometimes. If you'll have some riders riding very over the limit and riding you very hard, and it's never their fault apparently.
Always, right? I still go back to one of your colleagues, and he's out now. Your Danish team manager, Mr. Hans Andersen, and I've probably mentioned this before, but the best story that I have of him, and it was in my early days. I was riding for Cradley. I was a young punk, early 20s, 20, 21, whatever I was at the time, racing for Cradley at Oxford, and had a really good race at Hans, and I was leading him going down the back straightaway, and he came in quite hard and gave me a nice little nudge, and I went down, and I was so frustrated, and they excluded me for some reason, and I came back in the pits, and I remember Hans walked over to me, and he's like, "What happened? Did you run into my back wheel?" And I just went, I almost lost it, and I just thought, that guy was the biggest hero of ever, I was standing there, and suddenly he just made me feel so small, and I was like, I hate that guy. He's not a hero anymore. You're just so angry and what have you. But I just thought that was the biggest learning curve of my career. And hearing him say that made me realize then, like, okay, this is how it works. It's a mental game more than it is just riding the bike. You got to play the game, right?
Some people just have always been good at getting in other riders' heads.
Oh,
because
man.
when you roll up next to them at the tapes, you've already lost the race for some reason.
It's right. It's true. And some guys are really good at it, and you don't just get over it quick. Some guys might be better, but I could stew on it, and I could lay in bed at night and think about it, and then try not to show it. But after a while, you work it out, and you think, okay, all right, yeah, I probably lost a few heats because of that, but I'm not going to let it happen again. Till the next time.
Till next time.
So it's kind of cool. You as a person, the way you are today, that must have come from somewhere. So if we go back to your childhood and growing up, how did you get into speedway? I mean, were you into it were you a little racer as a kid, or?
It's a funny story. My dad always had the interest of speedway, but his dad passed away in an early age, so he had to take over the family, so he couldn't afford to ride himself.
All right.
But he always followed, and it goes back to 84, watching the world final of Olivier. I was 3 years old. And from that day, I was hooked, watching my, still today, hero and idol, Erik Gundersen, win his first world championship.
Amen.
I know. And I just said to my dad, I want to be a speed rider. And a year after that, I was still kept going on about being a speed rider. He bought me a PW50. So the funny thing is, I could ride a bike, but not a bicycle without stabilizers. But riding a bike was easy, and it just carried on from then. I sort of always wanted to be a rider, and at the age of 9 I started doing competitive racing till the following year. As in Denmark we start pretty early, and it's pretty professional with leagues and individual meetings, and it just carried on for then. I was never pushed into being a rider. I always wanted to be a rider, speed rider myself, and both me dad and mum was very supportive of me, and paid all the stuff until you start making money and you can support yourself, and for that I'm very thankful, of course. And like you said, why are you a person like you are? And for me, it's very important. On the way up you meet a lot of people, and if you piss on people on the way up, you're going to get very wet on the way down, because you meet the same people again. And end of the day, I don't see myself any better than anyone else, because it's on track. And it's just nice to be a down to earth person. And I've always been helpful, even if it's a fellow competitor needed help or whatever. I would borrow him something, because for me, the racing is done on the track and not off track.
That's very much you as a person, I think, too. As hard as people can look at you, or hard as riders you can be, that's just one part, Then you come off the track and everything is just, this is what it is, It's one habit. Do you have brothers and sisters?
I've got 2 elder sisters.
Okay, so you're the youngest.
I'm the youngest, a lot younger, so I was always spoiled because I was like the only boy. But my child was more like a only child, because my sisters are like 13 and 15 years older than me. So I don't know if I was a whoopsie or it took my dad a bit of a breathing period to try again to see if he could get a boy. boy got, for sure.
Have you really asked him that question?
No, funny enough, I actually never have. So it's probably something I have to. I said, why was I born so much later than the others?
You should go to that one. That would be a good conversation over a beer or something. Hey, Dad, listen, something's been bothering me my whole life, and I really, you really lay it on.
Are you my real dad?
Yeah, are you? Yeah, that's the question. I really want to know if am I talking to the real guy right there? Yeah, that'd put him under the spot. On the spot. So, your sisters, have they been big supporters of yours all the way through, or do they stay involved in the sport? Because I can't say that I've met them myself.
Nah, they were supportive of me when I was a kid doing the 80cc ranks, and obviously when I started doing 500cc, they would just come and watch sometimes when I was riding meetings in Denmark. But they've never travelled with me and stuff like that, because they have their life of their own with families and etc.
Both have kids and stuff too?
Yep, both have 2 kids. Right. Same as me, 2 kids as well. So it's sort of a comparison all the way through.
No kidding. Oh man. So growing up then, so you did that. If in Denmark you guys start on 50 cc's normally, right? Or even
it's 8. Well, they start on the PW50s, the motocross bikes, which they convert a little bit into speedway bikes, and take off the brakes and stuff, which is good. But end of the day, it's all about just the kids having fun. And sometimes I'm always been a lover of speedway, and if I have a day off or so, if I got the opportunity, I would go watch the kids ride, because I remember me growing up, I missed the opportunity to see my heroes or wherever that they would come, because being idols and stuff, if they would just turn up one day and look at your bike, you can live on that for so long. So I try to give something back to the sport, and obviously going and watch some of the kids ride, it's nice to see them ride and how into the speedway they are. But sometimes it's a bit frightening that the parents wouldn't let them play with the other kid before the meeting, because obviously it's a competition and everyone wants to win, but end of the day it's mostly about the kids having fun and enjoying what they do.
So the competition or the racing aspect is installed quite early. And in some aspects, but I always look at Denmark anyway. You guys are by far leaders, I think, in producing riders from a very young age. If you look at it, and the number of licenses you guys have in your country, for Denmark being a smaller country of 5 million people, and you look at the number of speedway licenses you have, it's sick, unreal.
It is, and again, it's thanks to the modern, not the golden era of speedway from the 80s, because many of the riders we have now, the dad used to ride or tried to have a career and stuff. So obviously the more successful a country is, the more is not advertised, but shown on TV, or is in the local paper and everything. But yeah, we do seem to develop a lot of talents, and it's done through work of both of our idol, Eric. He's so enthusiasm of a speedway. Like seeing him today, he flies around the tracks on his little thingy, and he's so inspirational. And watching him just shows me why I like to be a speedway rider.
Yeah, as you said, both you and I both have him as our top. He's by far the top idol in my career. I always say Bruce Penhall, because from a young age it was that. But when my professional career started in Europe, there's no bigger person in the sport than him. I had Lance King my first year, and then lived with Eric the next year. And that point of learning, looking at him as this god, I got to race with him, and before he had his accident, and then got to the opportunity to live with him. I was like, this is like the golden ages, and this guy's actually knows how to win world championships, and he's a regular guy. It's okay to go and have a good time or have a drink with your buddies, and then tomorrow we're going to go racing. You got to work hard, but you have to have a good time at the same time. And
charge your batteries.
Totally. And I understood then that, you don't need to be, it doesn't need to be like the army, but you need to just have your priorities right.
Yep.
And there he is out there today, still going strong, teaching kids. And he's, what is he? I don't know how many years older. I don't want to talk about the age.
No. Age is just a number nowadays, but
that's
still.
Right, yeah. It's kind of like you and I sitting here. It's the same kind of deal. And he's the man. When I see him at the track, I still get kind of like starstruck when I go talk to him. Literally, I still feel that way. Yet I have this crazy, almost like father-son relationship with him. You know, I can go up to him and give him a big kiss or something. You know, and everything's normal. But I still get excited when I see him. Like, there's my idol.
I'm the same. And luckily, he comes out and watches many Danish league meetings, and he's there either helping people, younger riders, or he just likes it. And you know, you can't, like you said, you get your day seems to turn a little even better when he turns up, because he brings so much with him. You know, he's always smiling, and his enthusiasm for the sport, it just rubs up on you.
One of the years you were in the GP there, when you came out with the replica suit with his, and I remember with the tongue on the back, when you walked out, man, I remember going and shaking your hand and like giving you knuckles, like, dude, that was the most cool thing, literally, and the most respect a rider could have or show for an idol, for a hero, a pillar, an icon. What do you want to call Eric, you know? What year was that?
2008.
So that goes back to that period. And, you know, then I understood. You and I were already buddies, or, you know, what have you. But you went up so much I didn't realize what a fan you were, a hero Eric was to you, too. But you went up in my rankings so high when I saw that. I'm like, there's a good guy right there. You know, for me, I'm like, say no more. That just confirms it. So hats off to you, dude. Respect.
Thanks, mate. Thanks,
for sure.
It was funny because going back again to my childhood, you know, Eric was always battling with Hans for the championship, and my dad was a Hans Nielsen fan.
Oh man,
so,
you guys had it all.
So we had it, you know, watching. It was his rider or my rider winning, and obviously, I wanted my rider to win always.
Yeah.
But they were so good back in the day. They were very good, but they were so different. Like Hans had the black suit, and Eric had the white one, so they stood out as well, different. So
well said.
It was so great. It was so cool, and you know, Eric being my idol and stuff. When I started riding the 80cc back in them, I had these colours, you know, the yellow, white and black and white suit and all this, and I carried that with me up until I started my career in England. I had the first season, 2001, at Poole. Obviously, I didn't know about team suits and stuff back then. It was a different thing. You had your personal suit.
Yeah.
Come to England, and suddenly I had a blue suit, and for me, I always liked my kid to look good, so I thought, the following year, I didn't really want to have a yellow suit with, a yellow bike with blue suit, and I changed my colour scheme a little bit.
Yeah.
So I went into blue for a period of time, and the 2008 season had started, and we did GPs, and I think the Copenhagen one was probably the 4th or 5th, I can't remember, but I always play with the idea, going back to the mind game of speedway, I always liked the idea of what happens if we change our colour scheme completely from one day to another, because it would affect my other riders. Because like we've talked about, it's a mind game. Whether it's a mind game being tough on track, people wouldn't expect it, and it hasn't been seen in speedway before. So I spoke to the suit manufacturers, and I had the week before, a set of guards made, and just to see how it looked. And said, yeah, we're going with that. But it was the whole thing. We didn't just change the suit or anything. We changed the whole colour scheme, like gold wheels on the bike like Eric had. And I didn't want it to show up on practice. So I practiced on the Friday at Copenhagen using my normal kit. And big applause to my mechanic. They work hard at night changing mudguards and wheels and everything. And like you said, the next day we rocked out. It was like a complete different rider with different colour scheme, and it was cool. And I just remember walking in, I see everyone's gop just dropped completely because of what just happened here. Who is it? Or what happened?
Yeah, I think I dropped a few points on that one.
Again,
probably, yeah.
It's
thinking,
funny,
no.
But again, it's like we spoke about. It is a mind game in speedway as well, and doing that, people it's something that they hadn't seen before, and
you floored.
They got shaken up by it, and I made the final.
Yeah, it worked.
It worked,
you know, and that just showed. That's what I mean. You floored me. Like I was just like, wow, how cool. Yeah, to look at it like that, and I like the way you just put it there. The black and the white between the two of those guys, and that's them in a nutshell, right? You got Hans is like that. Eric is like that. Who's the gray one?
It's hard to tell.
Could you say that? I mean, there's been so many guys in that group, and that's a good range. You've got, and everything in between was probably they got something out of Eric and they got something out of Hans, and they made up the difference. They got the experience, they got the success, and like you said, those guys killed it in the 80s. They basically changed speedway completely and dominated. I mean, they came to the States in the World Team Cups there in 85 and then in 88 and just cleaned the floor. You know, we gave them a run, but when the going got tough and it got serious, they just handed it to us.
I just remember watching the World Finals. It was not a question who would win. It was a question, would it be Hans or Eric winning?
Absolutely, right?
Yeah, there was no others in between. There's only between them two.
And I'm pretty sure that their competition was the same. They felt the same. It was like, who am I going to be second or third to in this? And trying to find, how do you beat those guys? Because they knew how to switch it up. And that was a one-day finals back then. So it was luck, but they were so good, they made their own luck. They didn't.
Well, you make your own luck in Speedway.
Yeah, and they were prepared, you know.
Proper professional.
Absolutely. And I mean, it was only, was it 89 in Munich? Was it Munich 89?
88, why not?
No, 88 was in Bradford when he won there. And no, that was Voyens, right?
Yeah.
If I got it right. And then I think 89 was Munich, and Hans won.
Yeah.
And Eric had a breakdown, I think.
Yeah, otherwise he would have finished. He would have been on the podium, but he broke down.
Wasn't it like that? And then he had his accident after that.
Yeah,
right.
Bradford.
So I just remember that. So that was the breakdown, the mysterious breakdown that probably cost him in the end. Because we're Eric fans, of course, it cost him in the end.
Of course.
But
I think having to go up against Hans in his first ride sort of killed it a bit, because he got beaten at Munich in his first heat by Hans, and it's sort of like, oh, he's beat me now.
Yeah.
The championship is his.
Yeah.
And then he had his mysterious breakdown as well, which obviously cost him.
It was easier to wash it away, too,
Yeah.
probably. Like, yeah. Otherwise, I would have had you.
Yes, of course.
So you guys have had a lot to live up to, yet you guys have had a ton of success through the 90s, of course, off and on, and even in the 2000s. So you've been a part of a few of those successes, I think.
Yeah, I've been considering myself lucky. I've been the captain of the Danish side, winning, lifting the trophy a couple of times with him, and it is something special when you ride for your country.
Totally.
And I put a lot of pride in it, and like I said, I was lucky to captain the side to 2 gold.
You were lucky.
Oh, I was lucky.
Okay. All right. I don't know how lucky you were. I think that spot was earned. But I can say that. You can say lucky.
Yeah, it doesn't sound too good, though. It's better to say I was lucky.
You just got to say, I own that position. It was mine from the beginning. No. I have fun with it. No, but everybody, I remember back in the day, too, it was red and white Danish Dynamite. So, I mean, I always think of that even to today when the Danes win. I'm like, yeah, red and white Danish Dynamite. There they go again.
There's a tune in Denmark made out of that as well.
Really?
It's like, we are red, we are right, we are Danish Dynamite.
I have heard that.
Yeah.
So, do you guys say that before the races and stuff?
No.
Yeah, come on.
Might have done back then, but no.
See, that's what you got to bring that back. You got to get everybody going and get the chant going again.
Maybe I should be running the national side.
You should just give Hans an elbow and just say, "Move over, dude.
Move over.
I'm gonna bring back the Danish Dynamite." So cool. So we've been talking a little bit today too, and even yesterday. We talk all the time, but some of the things that we talked about this morning, I wish I would have had the microphone on, because we touched on so many things that you don't realize, and from coming up, you've been in Dackarna off and on for.
This is my 15th season. I did 13 season in one go here. This is my Swedish home. Obviously, when I've raced for other clubs, I did the best I could for the clubs, but it was never home. Mm-hmm. This was my second club in Sweden. The people who was at the club back then are still involved in some things at the stadium, and the whole progress with Målilla, seeing the stadium being every year we came for new season, there is improvements on the pits or on the actual stands. And back then, when they talked about having GPs, you were sort of like, come on, wake up. And, you know, fair play. They were always a club with ambition, and it's always a pleasure to come here and to be back here again. Like I said, it is home, and it's just nice to be back.
I'm pretty excited because I've never been in this team either. This is my first year here, and I've watched them grow year after year. And when they put a Grand Prix here in the beginning, I'm thinking, why? That place is in the middle of the forest, you know? Like, you know, no disrespect, but it's in the middle of the forest. Why would they have a Grand Prix there? But some of the best Grand Prix events ever have been there for the racetrack. Doesn't matter the location where it's at, and it might be difficult to get in and out, but they have killer camping areas. They always have this massive facility for fan zones, and there's always rain somewhere.
There's always rain in Mollila.
Yeah, always. And
it wasn't called a thriller at Mollila for no reason.
There you go. So you need to witness it. You got to come and check it out, right? Rain is going to come, guaranteed. It's going to be on practice day, or it's going to be some point, or maybe even right before the final, right?
Or just on parade.
They're just on parade. It's going to go somewhere in between. It's going to be there. But now I'm there. I'm super excited. We have a cool group of guys in this team, and we're the kind of group that can gel, and together we can have a lot of success, and I hope that we do. We're going to create some luck, and
we are.
It should be really fun. But
I've only won one championship with this team, even though I've been racing for the club so many years. So it would be nice to get more. And like you said, we have a very good team of. There's a good mix of experience and youth. And
thank you.
Yeah, you're the experienced one, the youth one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Thank you. That's why I said thanks.
No problems. I've been in many teams through my career, and we've not always had the strongest team on paper, but we've gelled so well off track, which actually made us perform better on track. And again, looking at this team, is a team. It's similar in many ways, and we can definitely do this.
And the cool thing is, when you look at these guys, we're all capable of having an off night, a good night, but there's always guys who can
take over,
and that's why it's a team, and that's what we need.
Again, there's no iron team.
That's a good thing. I never heard that one. That's pretty good.
Right.
I like that. So you started. I still look at you, like I said, I look at you as a young guy in the sport still. Yet you've been around for a lot of years.
It's only lately that I can grow a beard, so that's why I probably.
Yeah, I don't see any funny color in yours yet, so it's you're holding it pretty natural.
It is natural.
Yeah, gotcha. But what you said this morning, I didn't realize, and it's kind of cool because Luke Becker's been hanging with me, as everybody knows. I keep mentioning his name, but it's been fun because he doesn't know a lot about you guys. He looks, you're a star to him too, so he gets starstruck, and suddenly he's sitting across the table from Hans Andersen and his mechanics, and like he is with all the guys, and he doesn't know what to say sometimes, and then he realizes, like, God, these are regular guys, right? They're pretty cool. But hearing your story this morning as being a kid, you started riding in Sweden before you started riding in England.
Yeah.
As you said this morning. But
I had a semi-pro career even before I went to England, because I did an apprenticeship as a toolmaker, but even through that period I was still riding regularly in Sweden, Poland and Denmark, and luckily I had a place where they supported my racing in a way. Instead of having 3 weeks holiday, they said I could use them 3 weeks day by day, and which meant every Tuesday from May onwards I wasn't at work. I was in Sweden riding here in Mollila.
Dang. This part about you I didn't know. I had no idea. And of course there's a lot I don't know about you, but for me this is fascinating because I know how I was at a young age and working. I finished school. I quit school early, like half a year early, to go to work because I couldn't afford to go racing. My dad's like, I can't afford to keep doing this, And I thought, the only way I can do this, he says I have to go to school, otherwise I can't race. But if I go to school, I can't race either. Mm-hmm. So I jumped out early, went to work, went racing 4 nights a week, get up in the morning, go back to work, or go to school half day in the beginning, and then go to work, and then go racing. Then I quit the school to work almost as much of the day as I could. And hearing your story today made mine feel simple, because you were going to work, and then you were driving to Poland and racing Sundays, bolting your butt back to Denmark to go to work Monday?
Yeah, Monday morning, and obviously Poland was a bit different back in that day. You never knew if you was going to be stuck at the border for half hour or 4 hours. But yeah, whatever time I got in the morning, it was obviously later than I was supposed to meet in at work. So I stayed in. If I turned up an hour or 2 hours later, I would stay behind an hour or 2 hours later to make sure that I have enough hours in my shift before going to Sweden the next morning. Coming back from Sweden in the middle of the night, I would sometimes, rather than going into my bed at home, I would just keep in the van because I was asleep already. So rather than jump out of the van, I would just get another hour or two in the van before I would jump out and go straight to work. On a Wednesday morning. And Wednesdays has always been Danish league days, so straight after work, straight to a league meeting. But then come Thursday, I was a bit knackered, but I was preparing myself for another Sunday in Poland.
Your time card must look funny when you started work in the morning. Whether it just sounds funny, we go click. One morning might start at 10, the next morning starts at 6, and then. But you still made up the hours somewhere in between. Yeah,
the only, like I said, the company where I did my apprenticeship were very supportive of my racing, and the only thing they said, make sure end of the week you've got the right amount of hours put in. So I was pretty flexible with my job, and it was something I enjoyed. I never made any secrets, because when I went to the company and applied for apprenticeship, I said to them, just as you know, I'm only doing this so I can get knowledge of tool making and so I can machine various bits for my speedway bike. But I don't plan, when I finish, I won't be working in this company. I'll go pursue a professional career in England as a speedway rider. And the final day of my apprenticeship, I wasn't there. I had press day in England.
Told ya.
And, they were cool with it. And like I said, if they wasn't supported of it, it couldn't have happened, and it probably wouldn't have made me the rider which I am today.
For the work ethic and everything that you got out of it.
I've had clubs in England trying to get me over at a very young age, but I wasn't ready. Having to leave your base at home, Denmark, to go live in another country. I know you went early, but I thought I'll do the apprenticeship, and when I finish that, I'll be 20 years old. Then I'll probably matured enough to go live in another country by myself, and that's what I did.
Dude, it's pretty amazing. And if you listening to you talk to, I don't know how many people know your accent, your English is better than most English speaking people. You have kind of, I couldn't say where your accent would be from, but it would be hard to say that you're Danish listening to you speak English.
I know, and people especially in England, they used to ask me if I was Australian. I don't know why.
Totally.
Why I've got like an Australian accent in some ways, because I started off riding for Poole, which is south of England, not north or anything, and it's just weird.
It is, yeah, because you do sound like an Aussie, much of the way you speak, but your accent can be really blended. It's hard to. You were saying earlier too how you watch TV and you can so after traveling so many years you can spot the guy who's German, spot the guy who's Swedish, Russian, whatever.
Just by listening to them talking.
But you'd be a hard guy to spot. You could fool a lot of people.
Well, last week we was in Sweden. I decided to go in and have my hair cut, and speaking to the lady while she was cutting my hair, she said, "Oh, so you from this area and stuff?" And I said, "No." She couldn't tell I wasn't Swedish, which is a good thing. So I'll just try to blend in with my surroundings.
You're like a chameleon. So you can, you speak Danish, obviously. You speak very good Swedish with, your dialect, your accent. Your English is phenomenal. I've heard you speak some Polish, and I know now that you also speak German. There's 5 languages that you can pretty much. You can get by, and
I can get by. I can order food. I can, I get how much I need to pay at various shops, and it's easy. I've always been pretty easy with languages, but it's something which interests me as well. And nowadays with the Polish, you need to know because all the mechanics are Polish, and you need to know if they talk about you.
That's right. You've done good there. You've done really good there, and you're in that way. You're good too, because knowing you the way I know you too, it's like there's no beating around the bush. Is it like this or is it not going to be like this? And that's okay either way. You know, I can run the gray area, but hey, I don't want if you're messing with me, that's not cool. You're out of here, kind of a deal. And I think
at least have the courage to tell me face to face rather than bat mouthing me behind my back.
For sure.
And again, going back to a little bit, for me, it's very important to give something back to the fans I have, or just to Speedway in general, because it's given me so much. So again, walking up to a supporter in Poland and being able to say hello and how are you, and etc. in his own language, it means a lot to them, and it's something I put pride in, you know, because without the fans we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. So like I said, it's always, for me, it's been important to give something back to the sport, whether it's go watch the kids ride or go meet the fans in Sweden or England or wherever. And like I said, it means a lot to them if you can speak to them in their language, because I know like Poland now, people are a lot more international there now than when we two started riding in Poland. They could, you know, it was lucky if you could get someone to speak even German.
Yeah, that's pretty true. And like you said, if you can, I remember Hans Nielsen doing that too. That's one other memory I have of him. Early days in Poland, we were standing on a parade somewhere, and he started speaking Polish to a guy that came up to him on the parade, and I was like, looking at him going, whoa, he can speak Polish. And not, you know, being a young kid then, I'm like, and you can't, nobody speaks Polish, only the Polish people.
Only the Polish people.
Yeah, and I looked at him like, dang, Hans is pretty rad. So I agree, and you're so good with your fans. Your social media is rad. I obviously follow you too, and I see what you post, and I like how you post information about all your races and the points, so you can see what the whole team did. There's always a positive in you. You don't, you know, you never make a negative in your statements. If you had a bad day, you say I effed up, or I did this wrong, or I screwed up, or I did that, but tomorrow's a new day. And you always, you know, it's like, yeah, maybe I made a mistake, but you know what? Who doesn't?
I know. And I think it's something that it's not always been there. Something that's come to me through living. And end of the day, I'm not ill. You know, life is good. I wake up, I'm blessed, I got 2 kids.
Yeah.
And I try to always look at the positive in every situation, even if it's a bad situation. There's always, if you take the positive out of it, like you say, if you have a bad meeting, you can say, oh, at least I made 5 good starts, but people passed me. So it's other areas you need to look at. But again, there is some positive. It's always easier to take the positive, because people quickly just point at the negatives, and I don't like negative energy.
Those are easy to find too, right?
Negatives. People always find negatives, but it's hard for them to. Well, whatever you do in life, whether it's speedway or mailman or whatever, people. You don't often have people patting you on the back, say that was a good job you did today, but they would definitely point finger if you did something negative.
Oh, I'm with you there.
You know, I'm not saying the world is a bad place, but I just in general try every day to make it a better place. Like. Doesn't matter if you go to the coffee shop and you say, oh, have a good day, or you're polite, you know.
Totally.
Just how I am, you know. I just want to be a general decent bloke, and I try to spread positive energy to my surroundings.
Surrounding yourself with the right people, the good people, which probably is why we're buddies too, because, you know, you don't... If you weren't that kind of person, I probably wouldn't hang out with you for too long, because you can see that even if I give off positive energy, you're really looking at it going, don't come to me with your positive energy. Can't get out of here.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really cool. You can see that that's like that. And if people aren't your style and the way you are as a person, you might even throw something out there just to see what comes back, to see what kind of person they are.
Mm-hmm. Bit of ping pong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And see what comes back on the return, and then you know right away. It's like, yeah, I can hang out with this dude. I can have a beer with him, or I can have a cup of coffee or whatever. You know.
So it's always nicer to hang out with people you can have a laugh with, rather than someone going yakking off how bad this is and that is, and you know, negative energy rubs off on people, and there's another saying. I keep saying this in English, even though I'm foreign. But you know, there's one bad apple in the bowl. You know, all the other apples turns sour. You know, Paul.
And you have to remove, if you've got a bad apple in the team, you got to remove that bad apple quick. Otherwise it can. Exactly.
I've been in teams where there's been one bad apple and it just affects maybe the younger riders, because if he says it's shit, it's shit.
Yeah, that's true. And you can, I've been in those teams too, and you go like, you look at everybody on paper and you go like, man, we got a team on paper, but there's always something in that group that you go like, I don't know, I'm not sure if this is going to work. And it's proven that it doesn't, and one person can, or one bad apple, I should say.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I like that. That's really cool. You have 2 kids. Their ages?
Just below 5 and 3.
And I know because your oldest is very similar to my youngest, and you guys were visit us in the States years ago.
Shortly after they were born.
Yeah, they were both pretty small, and I still got the photo of us in the restaurant and them sitting there together, and which is really cool memories. Then you understand, like, wow, this is, time flies, and I see, like, now you got the picture of your kids on your suit, which I got, that's so bitchin', so cool, and I see Laguta's done the same now, too, and it's so rad because they're always close to you, and it's that show of pride and family and how important it is to respect the ones around you, and those are the little guys that are the future. They're your offspring. They're going to be the.
Whether they're going to be riders or not, I don't know. But they're there and they have the opportunity. We definitely have all the toys in the garage, and and I've always said, I've said to my missus, and if they don't want to ride it, I'll ride it.
Yeah. And don't you think that all the toys that you're buying in there is you, more than them? You're like, I really want to ride that thing, so you buy it like he's going to ride it.
It's just how we are, we just love riding our bikes.
But you just said it right there. It says all the things in the garage. If he doesn't ride it, I'll ride it. So it's all about riding. It doesn't matter how you look at it. It's going to be ridden.
It will be ridden. But yeah, I put a lot of pride into my kids. Obviously, it's something I very value a lot. And like you said, apart from my wife, the kids are the closest to me. So I think it would be a bit odd if I had a picture of my wife on my suit.
You should do it.
I probably should do it, but
do one.
I don't think she would want me to have it though, because she hates pictures taken. But the kids are there, and being on my stomach of my suit is closest to my heart.
Feels good.
Feels very good.
You got to do the picture of your wife on the suit. You got to do it.
Well, you got to do it now. Now we've mentioned it, but I don't think she'd like it. It would be a surprise for her on our anniversary. Look, darling, what I've got.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to wear this one at the first GP qualifying round or the first GP.
It's got to be a televised meeting. She wouldn't know about it until I show it off on telly.
That's right. So she doesn't listen to the podcast anyway, so she won't hear this, right?
No.
That'd be rad.
The only thing I would say though about kids, like watching you and Crumpy as well before that, I do regret a bit not having kids earlier. Not saying that I'm old, but when I had kids, it gave me so much more time off, because as before, I was speedway non-stop. When I wasn't riding myself, I was watching everyone else riding or checking scores on the internet. I was a proper speedway fan as well as a rider. And from the day I had the first son born, it was all about them. When I was riding, but when I had my time off, I had my time off, and I just think that probably would have given me a bit more years ago.
You can't regret it.
Can't regret it, but I'm making the most of it.
Yeah, it happened when the time was right. You got the right partner, and you got the right everything. So
yeah, but I still had the same partner back then, so I could still say
it's probably her fault, right?
It's her fault.
She put the brakes on all the time, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Again, a good thing she doesn't listen to the podcast.
I think most people, it's definitely speed riders. You can't say when the time's right to have kids, because you'll make it work.
Yeah.
But it's not like time is right now, because we're still traveling, not there.
And at that age, you never had the time. But once the child, your loved one shows up, suddenly you feel like,
To make the time.
I got all the time in the world.
Mm.
I can make this work. It's not a problem.
I just remember in being at home with my kid. It doesn't matter if everything was falling to bits just outside the window, because I was only there and only concentrating on my kid, spending as much time as I can with them.
And now, I mean, you travel a lot. I've done similar, like you've done, like you're doing, and riding in all the leagues, and then all the qualifying for the World Championships again. You're a busy man, really, really busy man. So you have to have a good partner. You have to have somebody who takes care of life, so you can go do what you do. So it's another team, right?
It's another team, and it's very important because, again, someone needs to look after your kids when you're not there, and again, it's something that you value a lot, and to be sure that they're taken care of in the right way. But yeah, again, it's a team effort. But at least my wife now, I've been with her for a long time, and she's always been supportive of my racing. Otherwise, she wouldn't be there, because I sort of made the rules, or told us from day one, this is speedway comes first, then you come next.
She's got a really good sense of humor. She goes, like my wife would say too, when he's around the guys, he's going to say what he wants, but when we're together, he knows the truth.
I'm the same, my wife wears her pants at home.
Yeah, I'm the boss, because she said I could be.
Oh yeah, lucky you.
Because she said I could be.
Only because she said.
She said, yeah.
It's probably to make you not look weak in other people's eyes.
Absolutely not. I mean, I'm so strong.
Yes.
I'm tough. Really, really tough.
Oh, is that another tea, darling?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay.
I'll go put the kettle on.
Yeah, babe, sit down, relax. You look tired. So that's the key. But you involve your kids in a lot of what you do, and that shows. Again, you go to the races. You were saying before too, you take them to the tracks in your Danish league races. Let them go on the parade track. So they are pretty much there. There's a good chance there's going to be some speedway influence, whether you like it or not. Yet, at least they're a part of it, and they're getting to see how many opportunities in life could be there.
Also, meeting other people as well, because obviously going through life, if you have a normal life, you will have a lot of friends and people you know, but for me, and probably yourself, some of my best mates and friends in my day of living is from Speedway. I met them through Speedway. Obviously, I still got mates in a normal life off track, but it's not the same, because you share so many things with the people you get involved with through Speedway. The ups and downs, the travels, the delayed flights, or whatever. It's something that you can all rely to.
Yeah, it is like that, and it's this never-ending quest for the sport that we love. It's so hard to let go of it, but you maintain this family life, you maintain this travel life. Your desire to be the world champ. You've been in the Grand Prix, and you know how tough it is to get to the Grand Prix. You know how tough it is to stay in the Grand Prix, and you're trying to get back into the Grand Prix now, right? Mm-hmm.
I still, again, I'm older now.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I'm older now, more experienced, and I look back at it, and obviously I did have some successful years in the GPs, but never got a medal, which was an aim. Like to see my name in the book in one day, be remembered for something. But yeah, I would definitely do things differently, because, like I said, that period was before my kids as well. I was a Speedway fan. It was Speedway, and sometimes I think you're a bit like a battery. You only got 100% when you're fully charged, and if you waste thinking Speedway, you use some of that battery. So you might be down to 80% when you come to the races. As now, if I get back into it, I'll try and only focus on Speedway when you need to.
Mm-hmm. Good. Clever. Very clever.
Yep. I can write a book. Should do a book. How to become world champion without not being one.
Yeah.
If only I can do the title. If only.
But you are a world champion anyway.
Yeah, I am. Not individually, but Team-wise, yes.
Yeah, you're a team player as much as an individual, but it takes, like you said, there's always a level of luck. There's always a level of it doesn't matter the work that you put in because you put that work in, but sometimes things just don't line up for one reason or another. But when you've got the desire and you keep fighting, the stars need to line up, and
I put it down to my era. I had to compete against Tony Rickardsson, which is
Who's that?
Yeah, I know, some Swedish guy, I think.
Yeah.
Everyone. It's strong competitive lineups year after year, but looking at it at that time, it was very strong. You had yourself, you
Crazy.
had Tony, you had Crumpy, you had Lee Adams. Not saying that it's not competitive today, but they were just superstars then.
Yeah.
And again, it's a mind game. You might be better on the day than them, but you lost the race to him because you was a bit stunned by them being so good.
I agree, and I never want to say disrespect to the Grand Prix lineup over these last few years, the last 10 years even, but looking back at that, and you're thinking there was a list of guys that were superstars that were no race you couldn't predict any one heat, right? You got they went through a period there was probably 7 guys or 8 guys in the GP who you could count were going to be there all the time.
Yeah.
And then there was guys who maybe they didn't have the head for it. They had the ability, but maybe just not the head to put it together time and time again, where that used to be a one-day final, but now you're getting
the
6 times,
season.
10 times, 12 times, whatever it was. And it's not an easy thing to do, but today, you look at the youth in this game, and then like you coming into this lineup are right in the middle of that youth. So you've been through the youth part, you've got the experience, you've got everything, and now you've got the knowledge. So when you get back into the Grand Prix, it's going to be a whole nother story, right? You're gonna have a whole nother outlook.
And Gollum was 40 by the time he won his first championship, so I still got time.
You got time. You're still a young.
I'm still young.
You're a whippersnapper. So
I've only just started. Like I said, I can only just grow a beard now. Some teenagers, they got a bigger and better beard than I can. You see them today. I thought, what have you been eating?
I always like to look at Mads Cornelius and when I see him with that beard, and I'm thinking, you can rock it and you can get away with it. You're so bitching.
This is cool. Matt's is a similar age to me, and we've raced each other through the rankings. And
Are you guys buddies?
We're good buddies.
All right, cool. I can understand that.
Again, like I said, some of the best friends you have in life is someone you've met through Speedway. And yeah, I've got a lot of time for Matt. He's so easy to get on with, but he's so funny, and he can rock it.
He can rock it. He's good like that. Well, dude, you can rock it too, and you're gonna rock it. We're gonna rock it together in Dackarna this year. And what can I say? I really enjoyed talking to you. I'm sure we could go further, and I hope that you'll come and do some more with us. And it's all for fun, We dig it.
I need to come back for episode 34, which is my number, not 31.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
Yes. I have a history of doing this now. I've done it with 1 or 2 guys, and Jack Holder was another one. He was so bummed because he wanted episode 25 or whatever it was. But I do that on purpose because I want you to come back. So, and we have this deal going right now too with our Real 45 intro, the rap song Real 45. Some people like it, some hate it. So Jack says that he's going to do his own intro for us, but I haven't heard it. So could you do one?
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly, but I'll wait for episode 34 because it's my number.
Right. So I might have to come back to an episode 34 then, and
won't be that long then.
You don't be careful what you promise now.
I always keep my promises.
Yeah, of course you do. Hans, thanks, bro.
All right, mate.
Catch up with you again soon, buddy. You're the best.
Welcome to Real 45 with Stefan and Greg Hancock. We vibe out and have real talk, so tune in and check this out. Yeah, today is a new day. Let's seize it now and get hype. We talking about our careers, our family, and just life. Yeah, share my story with you.